What's up, Fantasy A-Team Nation? I'm your host, Josh Jenkins, and tonight we will be revealing our Week 1 wide receiver matchups. But before we start this show, I would like to welcome my co-host, aka the Fantasy Guru, Zach, back to the show. Welcome back, Zach.
What's up, man? Thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me back. What's up, A-Team Fantasy Nation? Let's do this. Let's get to this list. I'm super hyped for this.
All right. Give me your number one pick.
All right, man. For number one, I got to be super hyped for this pick because I got to go with my boy, Tyreek Hill. You know, I'm wearing his jersey. Got to represent. I think he's the best. So I got Tyreek Hill versus Cleveland. Cleveland's a top 5 defense, but I still love this matchup because it's Tyreek Hill. He's going to get his touches. He's going to have probably 10 to 12 or more touches. He'll have 150 all-purpose yards. I think he's going to go off 2 TDs or more. He's a dual threat. So I got to put him up there. That's my guy.
I would have to agree with you, Zach. But my first pick is going to be Davante Adams from the Green Bay Packers. They have the Saints. Tough matchup. But you know, Aaron Rodgers is going to be slinging that ball downfield to Davante Adams, so he's going to get his. So, go ahead.
All right, I agree with you totally. I mean, I think he could easily be flip-flop. I'm a Kansas City Chiefs homer, and I love Tyreek Hill, so of course that's why I had him at number 1. But easily Davante Adams could be number 1. I have him at number 2 against that New Orleans defense, like you were talking about. They're saying they're a top 15 defense. I'm thinking they're going to be better than that. So I'm thinking maybe even a top 10. So that's kind of why we'll see what's up, how the Packers offense unloads on them. See how New Orleans, what's they give them. Is it going to be Aaron Jones or more passing with Rodgers? So with that said, I say at least 12 or more targets. I love the matchup, by the way. I think he'll have 150 plus yards, or not 150 plus, but about 150 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. I love the matchup.
All right. I do agree with you, everything you said. My number 2 is going to be Tyreek Hill. They're going up against the Browns. You know what Tyreek can do. So just better watch out. I do love this matchup. I have a feeling it's going to be fairly close if it was anything like the playoff game from last year. So Tyreek Hill is my number 2.
I agree. Both Adams and Hill, both are electric players. Both these guys are going to put up numbers this week, guys.
Who you got for your third pick?
All right, so for number 3, I got DeAndre Hopkins versus Tennessee. Tennessee's a bottom 15 defense, so I love this pick. 12-plus targets. He'll probably have 125 receiving yards or more and possibly 2 touchdowns, at least 1, but possibly 2. He's a big target. He didn't have many touchdowns last year. Seems like they put the ball on the ground when they get in there. But, man, look for him, man. He's a big body. He's going to get the ball.
I do agree with that pick. I have DeAndre Hopkins as my number 3. Murray scrambling can find him and make a big play. I look for him to score at least 1 touchdown.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. He's one of his favorite targets. So for number 4, I got Stephon Diggs. They're facing Pitt. I like this matchup. I don't absolutely love it, but it is Stephon Diggs. The dude is a baller. He gets a lot of targets. He's going to have 12-plus targets. Pitt's defense, a top 10 defense, so he's going to have to fight for his yards. So I'm thinking maybe 100 to 120 yards receiving and at least 1 touchdown, maybe 2. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I do like this pick. I have Stephon Diggs as my pick as well. Steelers supposed to be a really good defense this year. Could be stingy during Sunday's game, but I still think he gets his, probably scores a touchdown. But look out.
Yeah, they've been working on the game plan all offseason for this game, so you know what I mean. They're ready. They got their guys ready. For my number 5 pick, I got Calvin Ridley versus Philly. Philly's a bottom 12 defense, so I love this pick. Calvin Ridley had a great season last year, so I believe their defense isn't the greatest. So I think it's gonna be a close game, maybe a high scoring game. I like Philly too. I like Jalen Hurts, so I think Calvin Ridley's gonna get 10 plus targets, have 100 yards, maybe to 115 yards receiving, have one touchdown, possibly two. I mean, he could go off. He could maybe even be higher on the list, but because Atlanta's offense with the rushing game, the defense might set back. So we'll see. We'll just see what happens.
Yeah, I do agree. I do have Calvin Ridley as my pick as well. It's just him this year. There's no Julio Jones. So he's definitely going to get ever how many catches he wants. So I look for him to put up some big numbers in this matchup.
Agreed. So my number 6 pick, I got DK Metcalf versus Indy. They're a top 12 defense. I still like this. Even though it's top 12 defense, I like this pick. He's going to get his 10 plus targets, 100 yards receiving. He probably has 2 touchdowns, at least one. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. I have DK Metcalf as my pick as well. He's a big target in the end zone. So just look out. I think he scores possibly twice on Sunday.
He's the game record when he gets the ball. He could easily score.
Exactly. Who you got for your next pick?
All right, for number 7, I got Justin Jefferson. Minnesota's playing Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a bottom 10 defense, so I like this pick. Justin Jefferson as a rookie went off last year, so he's going to be plugged in more in their offense. So look for him to get the ball more. He's going to get 10, 12 plus targets. He'll at least have 100 yards, probably 125 yards. And I look for him to have 2 touchdowns. I look for him to have a big game.
Okay. I'm going to differ with you just a little bit. I'm going to have A.J. Brown as my pick. I think with the addition of Julio Jones, it's possibly only going to help him. If they are double teaming Julio down the field, that leaves A.J. Brown wide open for a reception, possible touchdown, or vice versa. So I think it's only going to help those 2 receivers.
Right on. I agree. I mean, I have a little, he's a little bit further down my list. I got a comment for that there. But for number 8, I've got Terry McLaurin for Washington. They're playing LA Chargers. Chargers have a 12 defense, so I like this pick. That's why I have him a little bit further up the list than we did at the regular rankings. I think he'll get 10 plus targets. Him and Antonio Gibson are some of the big time weapons there. So I think that McLaurin's going to have 100 plus yards receiving, and he possibly has 2 touchdowns. 1 for sure though. And then I had A.J. Brown at number 9. And the reason why I put him lower was he's playing Arizona's defense. Arizona's defense, like a top 12 defense, supposedly. I know he's still going to get 10 targets, like what you were saying. He's going to, because of Julio probably demanding the double team, he probably gets more targets. But because of that Derrick Henry, man, I believe you're going to play off the play action fake, so they won't get as many targets, and they're splitting them. Him and Julio are, so that's why I moved him down just a little bit. But he's still a top 10 guy. I think 75 to 100 yards, at least 1 receiving touchdown, maybe 2.
Yeah, my number 9 pick is going to be Justin Jeffries. It's basically just like what I was saying for the Julio Brown tandem. You got Thielen and you're going to have Jefferson. If one's double teamed, the other one's going to be wide open and vice versa. So I think it's just going to play out well for both of them.
I totally agree with that because it's almost the exact same scenario because of the fact that now that Justin Jefferson's made himself established, like I was saying, Adam Thielen is already one of the better veteran guys out there. So with that said, you're a defensive coordinator. You can't double team both of them. So you have to pick one or the other. It's up to the quarterback to make the read, make the throw, get the ball to him. So both these guys deserve to be right kind of where they're at, either spot. All right. So I agree with that. With my number 10 pick, I put Allen Robinson down here. I think he could easily be higher. The only reason why I don't is because it's the LA Rams and they're supposed to be a top 5 D. So I don't necessarily love the matchup. But Allen Robinson's a baller. He's going to get his 10 plus targets, 75 to 100 yards, and at least one receiving touchdown.
Yeah, I totally agree. I have Allen Robinson as my 10th pick as well. I love me some Allen Robinson, but they're going up against the LA Rams, which are supposed to have a top 5 defense. So we'll see. I think he still gets his. He'll probably score a touchdown.
Right. I agree with that. And so with a few of the guys that we don't like the matchups, here's some of our honorable mentions. I've got both two guys on the same team. Joe Burrow, I think, going to bounce back and be a baller. So with that said, he's got Jamar Chase, the rookie, and then T. Higgins, who came out of kind of nowhere last year and, put up some great numbers. So those two guys, I think could both have 8 to 10 targets, 60 to 90 yards each, and each have a touchdown because they're playing at bottom 12 defense versus Minnesota. Then I've also got Mike Evans on here playing Dallas on Thursday night. He's playing a bottom 12 defense. It's freaking Tampa Bay, dude. I mean, he's a big time target. He could easily be on the list, but this is where I have him because there's so many weapons there. Will he get enough targets? So that's why I don't know how many targets, maybe 7 to 10 targets, 75 to 100 yards receiving, and maybe a touchdown. Then I got Keenan Allen on here. Washington's defense is supposed to be stingy, so he might get like 10 targets, 75 yards, one receiving touchdown. I got to put Robert Woods on here because the Chicago D, I mean, as good as they are, I still like this because bringing over Matt Stafford, I think Robert Woods is going to be on the rise. I think he 8 to 10 targets, 75 yards to 100 yards receiving, one touchdown. Then you can't forget about Amari Cooper. I know we said we didn't like the matchups for the defense versus the offense on there with Dak and with Ezekiel. But with that said, all these guys are still going to get their numbers. Dak, Ezekiel, and Cooper. They're going to get their 8. I think Cooper will get his 8 to 10 targets, probably about 75 yards and a touchdown. So if you drafted any of these guys, you don't have some of the other guys, plug these guys in, they'll get your numbers.
Well, folks, there you have it. Our week 1 wide receiver matchups. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them down below. We'll try to answer them as best as we can. And as always, please give us a like, hit that subscribe button. And remember, friends don't let friends auto draft.